In a Eurogamer interview with head writer for Jurassic World Evolution, John Platten, we get some very interesting information about the plot and the lore going into the game. I actually talked with John at length myself and we'll have a video on that in the coming week, but for now we'll focus on what was discussed in that interview, which I've linked below for anybody who's curious. So before the truly interesting stuff, there's brief discussions on the storyline of the three paths you can follow in Evolution: security, entertainment and science. Each has a department head with their own follies and foibles. Foibles, great word. Ones that may lead to dangers in your park, as we saw already with the security demoing and the guy just saying, yeah, just let your dinosaur out, it'll be fine. These three storylines will progress across the islands in tandem, and as I've been informed by a couple of different Frontier people, the story is liable to get much more interesting and involved the deeper we dive into it. Despite being a simulation game, it does seem they've laid out a proper plot for us to follow as well. He also briefly addressed the presence of Ian Malcolm in the game, which is something I've seen commented a lot, simply saying that, well, the genie is out of the bottle, there's no going back, dinosaurs are here to stay, so Ian Malcolm feels that little bit of responsibility to get involved and try to stop, them eating everybody, which he'll surely fail at. It's going to happen whether he's there or not, these dinosaurs and these parks are going to exist. Whether you buy into that as a motivation is up to you, but, well, there it is. Then, however, we get to the truly huge news that has somehow so far been somewhat swept under the rug. The game will take place in multiple points of time. That is, each of the 5 deaths and your park building upon them occurs at a different point in the timeline of the plot, which starts just after the events of Jurassic World, kind of rebuilding once more, and finishes somewhere towards the end of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. This offers up a whole host of storytelling opportunities. Perhaps on one of the later islands we'll hear about how Isla Nublar is being destroyed by Mount Sibo. Maybe that eruption will cause our own island to shake. Perhaps on Island 3 or 2 we'll hear rumblings about a corporation or about the DPG wanting to take away those dinosaurs on Isla Nublar to the mainland. It's just an interesting concept that I really like, as it gives the story some room to breathe. But, there's something else. John also mentioned that an homage to Jurassic Park takes place. Now, we know Isla Nublar is in the game, and that Isla Nublar requires a lot more effort to unlock than the other 5 islands. Nublar requires you to 5-star all of the islands, whereas the other islands require you to 3-star the previous one. So it's 25 stars in total for Nublar. It's a lot of work. If the storyline is linear and only jumps forward in time, as the interview definitely suggests, then that means you really couldn't build on Isla Nublar towards the end of Fallen Kingdom's storyline, as it's kind of been destroyed by the big-ass Mount Sibo eruption. Is there a chance that Isla Nublar is going to be that classic era Jurassic Park we all want so badly? 1993 Jurassic Park. That's definitely the suggestion I'm getting, and the idea of basically being able to try again where Hammond and the gang failed is incredibly exciting to me. Seeing that classic visitor centre again, the classic jeeps, all of it, but with Evolution's attention to detail and upgraded graphics, sounds like the perfect way to end the game. I did ask about Isla Nublar at the Frontier event in LA, and they would not talk about it at all. I pushed, but nothing. They were forbidden from doing so. Something happens on Isla Nublar in this game, something big, and this is the closest to a hint we've ever gotten. Some people think we are rebuilding Jurassic World, but I just don't think that's big enough. It doesn't necessarily even have to be 1993. We could do it in the mid-90s after the event of The Lost World, or just after Jurassic Park 3, but just give us those classic buildings, and I know that a lot of you who are still doubting the game would likely be convinced pretty damn quickly. Further to all this, the writer also suggested that a long-standing character who had a role in the downfall of Jurassic Park, the original, would be returning to the game. Is Lewis Dodgson returning to the franchise? The original actor certainly isn't, feel free to Google that one, but Dodgson was a character who was much more important in the novels than he was in the films, and I feel that a writer would be very interested in bringing him to the forefront. Perhaps Dodgson is still with Biosyn, and he's going to be there trying to screw over your parks. As a final little tidbit of information, still a great word, he also mentioned that he tried to retcon the motivation of a character from the original film a little bit to integrate them into the storyline. Now, the fact there were characters from the original films turning up, again, to me, reaffirms that Isla Nublar is going to be 1993 Jurassic Park. I want to believe that, the hints are there, we're going to roll with it. There are suggestions it could be Jurassic World, because there is hints of a Mosasaurus Lagoon, for example, but that would maybe be a natural feature that would be there anyway. And there's also hints of a monorail track, but again, the monorail track is part of the game at this point. Everyone loved it except the people in charge at Universal. They were the only people who said no to this retcon. What could it be? Dodgson's motivations were never very clear, so it's probably not Dodgson that this is referring to. Could it be Dennis Nedry? Yeah, I don't know what you do with his motivations. Either way, he's doing something bad. But could it have been John Hammond? The Hammond who was a money-hungry and cruel man in the books, but a lovable old goof in the films. It's interesting to think about. The interview is definitely worth a watch. If it was Hammond that he was trying to retcon just a little bit, maybe give him a little bit more of an edge, then again that would make sense in the way of bringing the player into 1993 Jurassic Park. I just can't stop thinking about that. That is, I am heading down that path. That is the road I am taking. The interview is definitely, like I say, worth a watch. Check it out in the links down below and let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe for the most up-to-date and in-depth Jurassic World Evolution and eventually gameplay. Cheers, much love, as always. Bye-bye. Hey guys and girls, thanks for watching. YouTube has been my full-time job for years now, but the adpocalypse and YouTube's frustrating new monetization system are making it tougher to survive and keep all of my organs. If you want to help keep the channel alive, consider throwing a little pledge at my Patreon page. It's not at all expected, and by just watching this video you've really helped me out. But if you feel like giving a little bit more, or you happen to be a Russian oligarch billionaire and want to support me, you can do so right there. Cheers.